Hey everyone, if you're listening to this and you haven't left us a review or a rating, please do give us a 5-star review. And also if you could tell us to your friends and tell them to listen to the podcast as well. We'd greatly appreciate it. So please enjoy the episode.
Hell yeah, man.
Hello and welcome to the We Recommend podcast, a movie podcast where every week we recommend a movie for you to watch and then come back here and listen to us discuss. I'm Jesse.
I'm Jason.
You're not leaving until you try my tart, because this week we recommend The Killing of a Sacred Deer. Woo-woo. First question I have to ask you.
Shoots.
I have it on a little paper that I wrote down at work. I can barely read it. So you have 3 kids.
3.
And a wife. Who do you pick?
I think I was just spinning around in circles until I finally clipped somebody.
It's so crazy, but how else do you make the decision?
Well, I thought he was gonna like spin around. Okay, it landed on somebody. Now aim it, and then I felt like he could have gone all night.
I feel bad. I'd probably just shoot myself.
Exact.ly. I think that's
Isn't
what
that
should
the
have
answer?
happened.
That's the answer, right?
But he couldn't. But if he would have done that, then his family would have still died because he wasn't allowed.
That's true. That's not as what you're supposed to do, but at least you're put out of your misery.
Yeah, at least you're fine now.
Well, I mean, he's like a heart surgeon, and he's like, you can tell that throughout the movie, he's like, or at least at the beginning, where he's like, "Oh, I'm powerful. I'm a surgeon. I have a perfect family. I have everything." And then by the end of the movie, it's all come crashing down. It's like, well, if I kill somebody I love, what's worth living for at this point? The rest of your life, you're just like, I fucking suck.
Yeah, but I'm just gonna say it. You can get married again.
Wow. Watch out,
like
Jason's wife.
I feel like you know what I mean.
Don't let her listen to this
do
episode.
You choose the kids over the wife? Or do you choose the wife over the kids,
I don't know. I don't have that same connection to kids.
Let's try it out right now.
I don't have kids.
You do have dogs.
I do have dogs. I'm not going to... let's just move on. Another question. Is this movie good to you?
It. Yeah, I liked it. It made me feel very uneasy. But I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah.
And it didn't make me feel great.
I'm always curious because... I watch a lot of movies and I watch a lot of weird movies and movies that end with you feeling empty and just like, what the fuck did I watch? And so it's like, of course I think this movie's good, but I was like, well, someone who doesn't watch a lot of movies and a lot of movies like this I'm just like, is this good for like an average movie watcher versus like a film buff type watcher?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I feel like this is a movie, this is only the second time I've seen it, and it hit completely different. Like, I was like, oh, I'm seeing a little bit more of the metaphors. I still have no idea how he's doing it, Martin, like putting this curse on this family, but I think it's irrelevant and doesn't really matter.
I am.
Wasn't that a TV show?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Do you think Martin is an anagram for Artemis?
Artemis?
The goddess.
Whoa.
Not an anagram. That's not the right word. But
whatever, or you're arranged to letters. I have to see how you... But there is no E in Martin, is there?
No, but I mean, it's just...
Close enough.
Artemis is the
letters are in there.
He's supposed to represent the goddess Artemis.
So
I guess the fury of the gods.
Yeah, so if you don't know this, if you're listening and you've never heard of the Greek tragedy of... just give me a second. I have this somewhere.
Yeah, the killing of the ancient deer. King Agamemnon.
Here,
he kills the sacred deer.
I can't. I gotta start writing things phonetically. I'm gonna cut all this because I looked it up. Like,
are you trying to? Yeah, his daughter's name is super weird. It's like Iphigenia.
Yeah, it's the. Okay, hold on. Iphigenia. So it's the Greek story telling of Iphigenia, which is funny because in Mrs. Doubtfire, that's what he calls himself.
What?
Yeah,
that's
but
cool.
he says it completely off. And I'm like, so now, because Natalie was telling me about this, because like, how do you pronounce this? I just want to make sure I'm getting it right. And then she says it, and it's like, oh, it's like from
I don't remember that at all.
And I'm like, whoa,
That's
that
cool.
really makes me put that movie into a completely different light. But yeah, so the story is essentially Agamemnon.
Agamemnon.
God.
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon. I can't say it. I just physically can't say that word, I guess. He kills a deer in a sacred grove belonging to Artemis, for which she commands him to sacrifice his daughter in order to make things right. So I guess in terms of this...
And he's also about to go to Troy to get old Helen back from her Troy boy.
Yeah, exactly.
And Artemis stops the wind.
Yeah, but that part doesn't really matter.
No, I guess not.
It's
still kind of cool.
In terms of the story. No, Greek stories are great. Too bad, like when I was in school reading them, I had no interest.
I did, but my teacher wouldn't allow us to read it, learn that kind of stuff in class.
Weird. You have to go to college to learn this, right?
I know, but
you really don't learn this stuff in elementary.
Yeah, you're not really supposed to. But she asked what we wanted to learn about, and I was like one of two people to raise their hand. I'm like, Greek gods and stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's why God of War was so cool.
Yeah, she wouldn't let us do it.
Just a few things. There's not a lot of facts. I had a hard time finding it. There's just a couple. Reading the script made Colin Farrell sick. Because he's just like,
yeah, man, I can see that.
Yeah. Let's see.
He's
what
got
else?
A sweet beard, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Colin Farrell. Ooga. So what else? Yeah. So the heart surgery in the film, real. That was
cool.
They actually got to film someone having a triple bypass surgery.
Hey, what the fuck? No deer in this movie.
Yeah, no
Not
deer.
a single fucking deer.
There actually is. There is one deer,
okay.
and it's in the diner behind Martin.
Like on the wall?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
And most of the cast members have been in Batman movies.
Yeah.
Nicole Kidman has been in one. That's the Val Kilmer one. You have Colin Farrell. He's in The Batman. Barry Keoghan. He's also in Batman.
Wasn't Nicole Kidman Catwoman?
No, that's Michelle Pfeiffer. She was kind of like a reporter in the Val Kilmer one.
I thought she kind of like also, I guess not.
So pretty much everybody but the two little kids weren't in one. Alicia Silverstone, she was also in Batman. And so I guess Alicia Silverstone got cast because Yorgos Lanthimos was a big Clueless fan as a teenager. Yorgos Lanthimos is the director who did The Lobster, Dogtooth, The Favorite.
Nice.
He's kind of also an Oscar darling now. His movie Poor Things won a ton of Oscars. It's great. But also Nicole Kidman and Alicia Silverstone really wanted to be in this movie and begged him to be in the movie.
On their hands and knees.
On their hands and knees.
It wasn't sexual.
Kissing the feet of him.
That was yucky.
But yeah, I really don't have any other facts, so we can pretty much just get straight into the movie. But yeah, I think when we're going through the movie, if you look at it from the perspective that maybe like King Agamemnon, man, that is really just a word I cannot say physically.
It's a tough, there's a lot of consonants right next to each other.
So Colin Farrell's character, Stephen, like think of him as the king. And then you can kind of think of Barry Keoghan's character, Martin, is like a god, I guess.
Yeah, man.
But I also feel like windows play a huge part in this movie, like looking through glass and windows. There's always like a windows. And I remember whenever I first watched this movie, I was kind of just like looking up like, what the fuck? You know, what powers does he have? What is this? And there's almost kind of like, I believe Natalie looked up and something, and it's like in a lot of the films and like the eeriest part of the films, there's like two windows, almost like two eyes.
Oh shit!
Kinda, so maybe it's kind of like a
because they're always
demon
watching.
or god watching kind of type thing, which is
cool.
Really, really cool idea. So thanks, Natalie, for helping me out with that 4 years ago. So yeah, when we go through the plot, kind of think of about it like that. It's a very hard movie to watch once and be like, I get it. Because it's a very metaphorical movie, you know? Oh, yeah, I guess I should probably go through the cast, huh? If you haven't seen it. It's also not a very quotable movie. I found that out. Yeah, because everything is just so, like,
icky.
Also...
Not the where the kid goes, he's like, you gotta kill one of yours. Yeah. You killed one of mine, you gotta kill one of yours.
Right. Also, I feel like in terms of the best intros to movies, this and Uncut Gems have two of the best.
Like to see that.
Because, so you haven't seen Uncut Gems?
Not yet.
I should totally let you borrow it if it's not on anything.
Sure.
But that movie starts off with an operation being shown.
Like the game.
This one's probably more gross, but the other one's kind of more funny, I guess. Once you figure out what it is, it's great. Both of them make you go like, "Ee."
The heart's got googly eyes on it.
Yeah. So we'll start off with just the cast real quick. You have Nicole Kidman playing Anna Murphy, Colin Farrell's Stephen Murphy, Rafi Cassidy is Kim Murphy. That's the little girl. Barry Keoghan is Martin. Sonny Soljic is Bob Murphy. And that's kind of the main people. And then you have Bill Camp who plays Matthew Williams. That's the anesthesiologist. Boy, it's a hand job. It's so weird. God, it's so weird. This movie's so uncomfortable, sterile, and
very sterile,
robotic, and just I don't know. Everybody, it's just the way people talk. They all talk like doctors. It's like a movie where it's like, what if every character talked like a doctor? Very cold and calculated type of thing.
Yeah.
Like not super emotional until things kind of start getting a little crazy. And then, because it's I think an hour and 30 minutes or 40 minutes. And then finally you see Steven just like having an emotional breakdown and crying. And it's like, what? Yeah. He showed emotion for the first time.
I guess as a doctor, you have to kind of, he was trying to separate being a father from being a doctor.
Yeah, which is kind of a problem because at the whole beginning, which it should be shown that like, oh, he definitely isn't leaving his emotion out of it because he's still hanging out with his kid that he killed his father too.
Super weird.
So let's get started, bro. Let's get into this crazy awesome film. So the film begins with Steven performing an open heart surgery. It's great. It's awesome.
It creeped me out. It's just blood and like, I don't know why. It's usually only in surgical situations or in hospital situations where blood freaks me out.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because we're seeing the heart beating. I think if we just saw like someone taking out a heart, it'd be like, okay, it's fake. It feels fake.
I was just hoping that it was a deer's heart.
But seeing it being an actual human beating heart, it's like,
stab it.
Can you put the skin back on, please? This thing shouldn't be out and about, you know? This thing needs to be enclosed. Because it just isn't, it's like, what if some lint got in it? Does that mean anything? Will he die?
Yes.
It's just just like whipping it out and just putting it on the table type of intro to a movie this is. But then you see Colin Farrell take off his gloves, Steven, and it's like now he's got his perfectly clean hands, even though there is blood on his hands. Dang it. And we'll learn later.
Just throws his gloves into the open heart wound.
Yeah. But so even though that is pretty off-putting, we go straight into another very off-putting shot. And it's just him talking to the anesthesiologist and walking down the hallway.
Far away, like moving shot.
But it's like a wide-angle lens. And it's cool. Very off-putting, and you feel like you shouldn't be in this hallway. And it's so perfectly clean. And I don't know. It's just a very off-putting hallway walk. And plus, you just saw someone's heart open, and now they're like, "Oh, I like your watch."
Yeah.
Hey, that's a nice watch. Where'd you get that watch? What's how far down into the water can you go? It's like, 200 meters. Oh, cool.
I could be bathing in blood with this watch.
It's just kind of a crazy thought to be like, wow, this is what surgeons talk about after surgery. Just normal human things, you know? It's pretty cool.
They're not humans.
Yeah.
Stop pretending to be human, doctors.
They're kings. They feel like they have all that power because they make a lot of money. They can literally save lives. It's crazy. It's like, how do you not have like a God complex being able to do that?
Well, I think that's part of the problem. I think a lot of them do.
Yeah. Yeah. So Steven meets Martin for the first time in the movie. It's at a diner. We see that Martin's very kind of childlike, but also, there's something off about him.
Something off, but like he's so fidgety. Goddamn polite. And you're like, what is happening?
It's too polite.
I thought he was Colin Farrell's son at first.
Yeah. I immediately knew that this wasn't going to be Colin Farrell's son, and I was like, is this like a child molestation movie because I don't want this. Which does not help the tension throughout the movie. And it's like, oh my God. And like, because later, like more stuff comes up and it's like, ah.
I know you're just waiting to find out that.
Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, wait, it's not that, but it's still uncomfortable. And it did make me feel good watching the movie the whole time. So Steven seems to be like some kind of mentor to Martin, right? And we see that he bought Martin the watch that he was asking the anesthesiologist about. And I love this because the music is constantly kind of, it's just a regular interaction, but the music just makes you feel terrible. Like, okay, so is someone about to pull a knife out and stab somebody?
Yeah,
is this a horror movie?
There's a lot of times in this movie where they use like this dissonant music for no reason at all.
Yeah, but it's just like, why? I'm scared. And at the end of the scene, that it is kind of the point where it's like, okay, you gave him a watch. Is this a sexual thing or a mentor type thing? It's very
the hands of the watch are just dicks.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? What does this mean? But after meeting Martin, Steven has dinner with his family. We see his long-haired son Bob ask if he can go to a party with his sister, Kim, who's Steven's daughter. And then Steven says he can go if he cuts his hair. But Bob's kind of a little rebellious. He's like, after the party, I want the girls to see that I'm handsome with my long hair, I guess. Steven's wife, Anna, says, just let him go. And it's like a family of robots, right?
Yeah.
The kids have a little more personality, but definitely.
But not much.
Yeah. Just very little. But it's more like Bob has just a little bit of, they haven't like disciplined the human out of him completely yet. Right. It's only halfway put.
But it doesn't seem like they're they had to discipline them that much. They seem like a great kids.
Yeah. It's just maybe it's because they're rich, they have power. Maybe it's just
no worries ever. Yeah.
I'm a prince and princess compared to my dad who's a king. I'm really going with this like king thing, even though really it really is. 20 minutes before you got here, I was like, oh, the Agamemnon thing.
Yeah, King Agamemnon, he was supposed to have a big beard.
So it completely changed my perspective on this whole movie after watching it. Steven mentions that he's been spending time with a schoolmate of Kim's, Martin, because Martin wants to be a cardiologist. That night, Steven and Anna engage in some weird sexual act where Anna poses on the bed for him. She asks him, like, so, general anesthesia? He's like, yeah, general anesthesia. So she just lays down on the bed. It's so weird.
At least he didn't like make her take an ice bath first.
Yeah, and then he starts like masturbating before he gets up and starts kissing her. It's like,
sweet.
Okay, hey, whatever you're into. It's just like, if you were a patient of his coming up before a thing, it's like, oh, did you hear that he has like this weird like anesthesia, like sexual fantasy he does with his wife? Be like, oh, what? How about we go to a different doctor now?
No, like I think the freakier the better.
Yeah, that might be true. It's like, oh, he's real weird. That means he's probably a great doctor. The next day, Martin visits Steven at the hospital. Steven tells him not to visit without calling first because it's weird that he's doing this. He wanted to show him his new strap because when he gives Martin the watch, he's like, I don't like the metal strap. I want a leather strap. Even though Steven gave him a metal strap because that's what he likes. So it's kind of like, he's like, no, I know better. Here's the metal strap. But he's cool with like the new strap or whatever, so it doesn't really matter. The anesthesiologist walks up and it kind of gets a little awkward. And he just kind of essentially lies about or he doesn't tell the full truth. Like, oh, you remember that person that died? Well, this is the son that, the son of the person that we killed while operating.
We're buddies now.
Yeah. So we see Steven listen to his daughter sing. He tells Bob to water the plants, but he kind of pushes back. Kim seems perfect, while Bob is more rebellious a little bit.
So my wife thought that what really happened.
Oh, did she watch it?
Yes.
Did she like it?
She's seen it before also.
Oh, did she?
She thought that the kids are actually being poisoned by the stuff they were using the garden with. Some kind of gardening chemicals. I'm like, I don't really think so. But I was wondering if that's something you came across.
No. Well, so Martin has the power to essentially let them walk later. Because you remember, we'll get there, but when he calls Kim while she can't walk in the hospital room, he's like, just get up and come to the window. And she's able to get up. And then as soon as he hangs up, so she can't walk anymore.
He is a god.
He has the power somehow. So the next night, Anna and Steven go to like this gala, this medical gala where Steven is speaking. He's charming and hilarious. Everybody loves him, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There, Steven gives his speech, and we find out he doesn't drink when he's offered a cocktail. The anesthesiologist asks about his kids. God, it's so weird. Anna talks about Bob's piano lessons, and then Steven just blurts out that Kim started menstruating.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I guess they're doctors, so none of this is off-putting to them. But the camera quickly pans onto Anna like, this isn't a fucking like conversation piece to have in the middle of this gala.
Yeah.
And even the anesthesiologist is like, okay, cool, great.
He's not there for office chatter.
Super happy your daughter's menstruating, you weirdo.
Good for you, man.
But it's just, he's like, I don't know. Who's going to tell him like, yo, you shouldn't say that? It's like, hey, I'm the doctor here. I perform open heart surgery. I say what I want here.
I know when all of my daughter's periods
It's just kind of that ego trip where it's like, I can say anything because I'm powerful, whatever. And we see Steven and Martin are walking together. We learn Martin doesn't have a lot of friends, but it's like, I don't believe that my dad believed that you should have good friends, not a lot of just regular friends. And
that's what my mom said in a different way.
And I like that Steven agrees right here. But later on, when Bob's kind of pleading for his life, he says, oh, I have a lot of friends. And it's like, oh, that's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
so he like completely lied to Bob. It's like, that's funny.
Kind of changed. Yeah, I feel like he changed.
But we also learned that Martin's mom is one of his best friends after the father died. So Steven, he invites Martin over for dinner. He gives Bob and Kim a key ring whenever he gets there. Like hers is a musical note, and put more thought into it than Bob's, because Bob is just a smiley face, and it's like, okay. So he obviously knew Kim a little bit. And so there's this weird moment after Bob says thank you to Martin, because it's like, Bob, what do you say to Martin? He says thank you. And they just kind of have this little look, and it lingers on Martin a little bit. And I was like, what is it trying to show us right there? That like Martin knows that he's about to put this curse or whatever on Bob, or does it kind of feel that?
Or it could be like Bob, or this is the doctor, right? Is his name Bob?
Bob is the little kid.
The kid. Okay, so the doctor,
Steven.
Yeah.
Let's call him.
Like he's kind of courting with this kid because he feels bad about killing the dad.
Yeah, it's sympathy.
He's also, maybe he knows that, well, because of the story, the God's gonna punish him. So he's just like showing that he's sucking it up so hard, trying not to get punished by the God's fury.
Yeah, it definitely seems something like that. But I just don't. He just doesn't quite know yet that Martin's kind of a freak. He just kind of feels bad because he thinks that he has psychological problems.
Yeah,
because he kind of says that a little later.
Probably
I believe
feels bad for killing his pop.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Martin hangs out with Steven's children's in Kim's room, and he asks about them. We see that Bob and Martin are wearing the same shoes in a shot. There's just like a quick shot when Kim and Martin are talking, and we see that the shoes that Bob has on are exactly like Martin. So I'm like, so he bought him shoes too? He bought Martin some new shoes?
Yep.
It's so weird. So then
he said that he liked the same ones as Bob so he could replace Bob as his son.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, this is going to be like, he just wants Steven to be his dad. But then I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't know. There's just a lot of like ways you could take this. So they're interacting a little bit and they start talking about their puberty. It's like, hey, do you have hair under your arms? It's very weird. And then it's like,
nice, bro.
Kim brings up like, I started my period. It's like, great.
Sweet.
Cool. This period is totally normal conversations, I guess. Junior high and high schoolers talk. I never had this type of conversation.
Yeah. But they're doctors' kids or something. He's a psychopath.
They're just used to it. Kids. Yeah. So Martin asks if he can smoke. He says he regrets that he started smoking.
Fucking baller move.
Yeah.
How old is this kid?
Yeah. So after all that, Kim's like, it's cool, just open the window. As Bob's like, no, don't do that. Bob wants to see how much underarm hair Martin has.
Martin not get his ass kicked by Steven for smoking in his house?
Well, he did it out the window. In his daughter's
room.
I guess he just didn't. I guess Steven just didn't see him do it, and he did it outside, I guess. I don't know. But so like Martin shows Bob his underarm hair. He's like, that's not a lot. My dad has a bunch of hair.
My dad's hairier than you.
And then Kim says, oh, you got a nice body, Martin.
Dang, but would you hold it against me?
Yeah. Kim says she will go on a walk because he asks Kim if she would go on a walk with him. But he says he doesn't want to bring the dogs because she's like, can we bring the dogs? I got to walk the dogs. And he says, I don't want to because I'm scared of dogs because I'm scared if two dogs started fighting, I'd have to break them up. Which is definitely a metaphor in the movie. I'm just not 100% sure what the metaphor is. Any idea? Yeah, me neither. And if you know what the metaphor is meaning, give us
help us.
Send us an email at we recommend mailbag@gmail.com. Please, we'd love to hear from you. So then we get Kim and Martin going on a walk together, and she sings for him in front of a tree while he sits and watches. This is where we get the song "Burn" by Ellie Goulding. Always great when an Ellie Goulding song shows up in a movie because in the movie Spring Breakers, it ends with her song "Lights," and it's like,
oh yeah.
I don't know why. It always just pumps me up. I don't even listen to her. Kim and Martin begin to develop feelings for each other, it looks like. Yeah.
It's very sweet teenage romance.
Yeah, except it's definitely not.
Yeah, no.
Because Martin's a freak.
Yeah,
and I guess like the song
nice.
probably means a little bit, if you look into the words. Because it's kind of...
Burn.
Yeah.
She just loves fire.
Yeah, and also she seems to, throughout the film, to kind of be okay with the fact that they're all, like someone in the family's got to die. Because she doesn't think she's going to die, and she's like, let it burn.
Hell yeah.
So the whole group, they're hanging out. Steven invites Martin to stay the night. It's like, oh, you can sleep in Bob's room. Bob's like, I don't know. I don't think I want this. We learn Martin doesn't live in a nice neighborhood with a nice house like they have.
His house looked fine.
He's yeah, but he's just putting on, he's manipulating Steven more and more. He's constantly trying to make him feel bad, I feel like.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it.
That night, Anna questions him about Martin. It's like, where'd you meet him? How'd you do this? It's like, what happened to his dad?
Yeah.
Oh, you went to his funeral? Why didn't you invite me? It's like, oh, you're busy or whatever. It's like, okay, well, he's obviously lying. Martin invites him over to dinner at his mom's house. Later, we see Steven is driving through the parking garage at the hospital and sees Martin following him. It's so creepy. Because he just looks over and you just see him like running like... So weird.
Trying to keep up with him.
He's being just stalked, essentially. And it's like, why? I mean, why are you stalking?
If he really... But he didn't stop to be like, hey, get in the car. I'll give you a ride.
Yeah, well, because he's like, why is he... Because he doesn't... It's not like he loves Martin or anything. He just feels bad for him. So it's not... He doesn't want to, like, hang out with him naturally. He's just...
Maybe that he's
just like,
watched.
It's a hindrance to him, I feel like, a little bit. He's like, I don't know.
But then he calls him and he lies to him about where he was.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Fucking weird.
Steven asks if Martin was at the hospital, but Martin lies. Yeah. So we go to Martin's house. It's not bad, right?
Yeah,
bigger in my house.
Fine. It's
we don't really see the neighborhood that much, but I don't know.
Maybe it's bad for the neighborhood that like
I was thinking he was gonna be. Yeah, I mean compared to his house, it's horrible. But I was like, okay, I've yet to live in a house that big and that good looking. Okay, I mean I love our house, but you know whatever. While they're eating dinner, Martin tells Steven that after dinner he'd like for them to all watch his and his father's favorite movie. Groundhog's Day, let's go.
Oh, is that what it was? I didn't
see
it.
Yeah.
I think I was eating chips. Too lovely.
Martin says and Steven's like, no, I got stuff to do. I got to get home. I didn't tell my wife he's late. And both Martin and his mom, played by Alicia Silverstone's like, no. It's like, you can leave if you get tired in the middle of the movie, whatever. It's not a big deal.
Suck your dick.
Yeah. Yep. But then they start watching the movie. Martin says he's tired, so he gets up and leaves. There's like this awkward hug Martin has with him. It's like weird. And he's leaving Steven alone with his mother. And it's like, the question for me is like, oh, you're getting up and leaving? Well, then I'm leaving too. Like Steven just stays there and talks to the wife a little bit. It's like, I don't know. Like this whole scene is like a little odd to me in terms of what it means for the whole movie, I guess. Because like,
Is he trying
does Martin want him to get with his mom so that he's the dad?
Yeah, I think he just wants him to be his dad.
But also at the same time, it's never going to work because he's going to try to kill one of somebody in his family. Like it's an odd thing. She mentions that she knows her late husband was a patient of his, and she remembers him from when she went to the hospital after the accident. She says Stephen has beautiful hands and begins to kiss them and suck on his fingers. And Stephen gets up and leaves. She begs to stay. You can't leave until you try my tart.
Yeah, get that tart.
So funny. Thing is the mom in on it? Does the mom know what Martin's doing? I think she does.
I think he manipulates her too.
It's either that or maybe, I don't know. Because we don't see her the rest of the film. Is she never home? Is she always working? Because there's
just lonely.
There's 2 points where Stephen comes over to the house. No one comes out, even though people are home. And then Anna comes over later, and it's just Martin there. And I'm like, who is she? Is Martin's mom in on it? You know? And
Probably.
if you think she is, send us an email at werecommendmailbag
Tell us
@gmail.com.
what is going on.
So then we cut to a little later, and Martin is in Stephen's office. He says his heart hurts. He is worried that he may have what his father had. And Stephen's like, no. Like, you're too young. It's like, you said the same thing about my father. It's like, and I don't want to end up being like him.
What the fuck did his father have? I thought he had a car accident.
No, because he had the heart surgery and he died. And
I thought it was because he was in the car accident.
Well, he had the car accident, but they're kind of blaming his heart for giving out.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's what he was operating on when he died.
Yeah. And so Stephen's like, oh no, what is it? Like, is it like maybe I'll have it? But really he's just manipulating Stephen more and making him feel worse. Yes. And like putting him in an awkward situation where now Stephen has to do tests on him because he can't say, oh, I lied. I'm the reason your father died. Right?
Yes.
And he says his heart should have been strong enough to withstand the surgery. He is manipulating Stephen even more. He tells him he started smoking too. He brings up his mom. We see Stephen testing Martin's heart.
Everyone needs a hobby.
Yeah. Martin starts talking about Stephen's body hair awkwardly after all the testing. Stephen says he has a lot of hair because he is older. Martin asks him to take his shirt off so he can see.
Yeah.
Stephen obliges.
Do it.
Martin wants him to come back over, but Stephen says he's too busy because he invites him over to hang out with his mom again to finish the movie.
Weird.
Yeah.
Don't wear your shirt.
Very weird. It's like, just don't show him your body hair.
Please fuck my mom.
Yeah, essentially. Martin thinks that his mom and Stephen would make a great couple. He says, she has a great body. You've seen it for yourself. She lost weight and really has a good figure.
I have all of these photos.
So weird. He reminds Martin that he is married, and then he tells him he should stop smoking. I think the whole thing with him and his mom is he's just trying to ruin Stephen's life. I think essentially.
Possibly.
Just trying to destroy his life.
Try and maybe ruin it enough so that he'll come running to them.
Yeah, something like that. A day or two later, Stephen and Anna are at a barbecue at the anesthesiologist's house, and Martin calls Stephen. Martin is at a diner where they usually meet and wants Stephen to come meet him, but Stephen says he can't. Martin seems desperate for him to be there. Anna asks where he was, and she's like, oh, I was just on the phone, and she's starting to seem like she's suspicious of something.
She don't want no scrubs.
Yep, no scrubs. Later, Kim says that he met with Martin and he brought her home after choir practice. And it's kind of this, she's a little weird and kind of like, she seems uncomfortable when coming home. So I'm wondering if this is the point where Martin told her
he's gotten to her
what's going to happen. Well, because eventually Kim knows, it seems like Kim knows what's happening throughout when Bob and all of them are kind of, when Bob loses the feelings of his legs, she seems less affected. And it seems like she kind of knows a little bit more than we think.
In the story of Agamemnon and Iphigenia, Iphigenia volunteers to be, like, her dad tried to lie about it, right? Old Aggie. He tried to lie about it not to scare her off because he thought she might run away. But once she found out that if she didn't die, then some other bad shit would happen to the kingdom or something.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, kill me. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But then Artemis sees her kindness and turns her into a deer, but right before she's murdered.
Oh, I actually did not know the ending of that story. Well,
Does that help?
No.
Well, maybe this is
Because-
this is her, like, she's already realized that she has to die. And so she's just not worried about it.
Well,
I don't know.
I think the difference here is that Kim is I think Kim is trying to be more on Martin's good side so that she's not the one that dies. But I think that she understands what he's doing because I'm sure that Martin told her, it's like, yo, your father killed my dad because he was a drunk. And so I'm putting this curse essentially on you guys. And she seems that she is like interested in him emotionally.
Yes.
And I think that she's kind of all for it. I think she's a little bit more rebellious than we think throughout later in the film.
Yeah, she's a horny teenager.
Yep. So Steven calls Martin, and we see that Martin is right outside the house waiting for the call, but then he doesn't answer.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah, he's just waiting to see him turn off the lights to go.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Because didn't he bring her home?
Mm-hmm.
And then he never left?
He never left, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Steven asks, like, why didn't he come in? And she says, oh, he had to go somewhere. But we never hear. Yeah. I think Kim knows that he didn't leave and that he's just waiting outside. God. So the next day, Bob is running late for school. Steven goes in to tell him to get out of bed, and Bob says he can't. He says he can't stand up because he can't feel his legs. It's terrifying.
Fucking terrifying.
Like, could you imagine waking up and just your kid being like, my legs aren't working. I can't stand.
I know. First one, I would have just walked away and said, get the fuck up.
Yeah.
and then I would have come later when I come back and he's then I would have been worried.
It's like, Dad, I can't move. I was like, oh.
They say shit like that all the time. Try not to have to go to school.
Yeah, I used to fake being sick every single day. Every single day. To the point where Mom's like, I'm leaving. Bye. I felt something about like just looking back at me doing that as an adult. I'm just like, dude, get up and go to school. Stop. You're putting so much pressure on your mom. Sucks. So we see that he's being taken to the hospital. The music is kind of giving spooky chills. Like the music is crazy and I love it. It's so terrifying.
It is good. They have really good music in this movie.
And we see that they're running full neurological exams and on before determining that there's really nothing wrong with him.
They poke him with a stick.
Yeah. Steven thinks he didn't study for class, because we see him coming out and he's walking just fine. Yeah. Steven's like, oh, it just looks like maybe he didn't prepare for a test or something.
Damn,
so
I'd be so mad.
Yeah, especially it's like, oh, so I got to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this. But as they're walking out with Anna, he collapses again. I love this scene and shot because it's terrifying.
The bottom of the escalator.
Yeah, and you have this overhead shot, and then the escalator's going down, the music's crazy, and then he just falls. And you just see that Anna, she's like kind of calling for help, and he's just kind of squirming on the ground. And I'm like, horrifying to be a parent and this happening is it's so
he's
uncomfortable.
Also so confused because she's a doctor and they didn't find anything.
Yeah, she seems to own. Just from later dialogue, it seems that she's like an optometrist, and she has I think she's so eye stuff, and she has an eye clinic essentially. Okay. Because later on in the film, he says, "If there was something wrong with his eyes, I would come to you. But right now, I don't need your medical advice." Yeah, dick.
I thought. So.
But yeah, he can't feel his legs again.
Ophthalmologist. That's what.
Yeah, it's a very heartbreaking scene. They give Bob an MRI. The music's getting even crazier and more uncomfortable. They come to the conclusion that there is nothing wrong, and it may just be stress. Anna seems more worried.
Can they just like make it where he's full of spiders or something?
Yeah. Right. He just got a bunch of spiders.
Yeah, just a billion spiders inside of his body.
Yeah. But I love this because right now, like, Anna's coming off more as a mother while Steven's more having that cold doctor type
He's trying
of
to solve the problem.
Yeah, he doesn't see it as his kid in trouble as much as he sees it as
a patient.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be sick.
Yeah. And he thinks everything's probably going to be fit, and he's going to be able to figure it out. Because, I mean, he's a man of science. There is no supernatural here. Boom, boom, boom. So we see Kim and Martin riding a motorcycle. It's this dope shots, but it's still very eerie.
And they're not wearing helmets.
Yeah, not wearing helmets. She lied.
Ugh. Here, you listen,
Maybe
Madeline,
there's a little
you are never getting on a motorcycle with anyone.
Yeah.
Ever.
it just goes to show that maybe Kim is a little bit more of a rebellious type than she leads on. So Kim comes home and Anna is smoking and watering plants. Anna says she is fine and not tired, but she's obviously lying. She essentially asks like, "Hey, how's Bob?" And she's like, "Oh, he's gonna be fine." And then she asks how she is, because I think Kim knows Anna's gonna have the same issue that Bob's having. I think she's asking because like, "How are you feeling?" Because she knows it's gonna be happening to her later.
Ugh.
It's like, "Are you feeling any tingling in your legs, Mom?" And then like Anna's, "Hey, you have to start watering plants now." So
and smoking the cigarettes too.
Yes, she is smoking, which is kind of a big deal.
No, he's got to take or she's got to take over that responsibility once. Mom's out of the picture.
Yeah,
they're not going to smoke themselves.
Yeah, who's going to smoke these cigarettes? So the next day, Martin is there to visit Bob in the hospital, and Steven doesn't seem super chill about it. He says he offered to help Bob go to the bathroom, but he didn't want him to, and wet the bed.
Fucking creepy. And then Bob's just sitting there silent.
Yeah, he's like, "Could y'all tell this person to leave, please?"
Yeah, like, is he too afraid to say, Well,
no, I think he is creeped out about Bob, and he's like, "I'd rather wet the bed than have you go into the bathroom with me," type of thing.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what they got nurses for.
Yeah. Martin brought apparently some lemonade too, because earlier in the film, he has some of Anna's lemonade. And he says, "This is really good. It's like my mom's." And so he brings lemonade over so that they could try it, because it's like, even though he's like this crazy godlike creature, I guess, he still is just an awkward teenager at the same time who isn't, I don't know. It's weird.
Fucked
it's weird.
up.
Martin tells Steven to meet him in the hospital cafeteria.
He doesn't just tell him. He comes up to his ear and whispers.
Yeah, and says, and Steven's like, "No, I can't." It's like, "Don't stand me up like you did last time." So here we fucking go, baby. Let's go. Because at this point in the movie, it's like, "Oh shit, what? That's what this movie is? Let's go!" It's so exciting. Oh. I could, like, while watching this whole beginning of the movie and I knew this scene was coming, I was like, "I can't wait, let's go." And
when it happened, I was like, what?
Okay, that's what this is about? So in the cafeteria, Martin gives Steven a Swiss Army knife, which is because it's like
rad.
Yeah.
First of all.
And it's just because Martin is feeling bad that he never Steven gives him all these gifts, but he doesn't give anything. And it's just like, what are you talking about? You're about to make him kill one of his kids or wife. So Martin tells Steven that because his father died on Steven's operating table, he sees him as his dad's killer. He says because Steven killed a member of his family, he'd now have to kill a member of his own family to balance it out.
Yeah, balance.
Yeah. He tells Steven that if he doesn't, his family will all die the same way. First, by losing the use of their legs. Second, by refusing to eat to the point of starvation. Third, they'll start to bleed from the eyes. After that, it will be mere hours until they die. And so something I thought, I was like, because when I first watched it, I was like, so is Martin doing this for revenge, or is it more so that he potentially becomes his father? But now, like, watching it the second time, I was like, okay, so this is just, I mean, it still kind of seems like it's both, right? He still seems like, oh, I really like, he seems to really look up to Steven at the same time of wanting him to feel the wrath of his vengeance almost.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He wants them all to himself. This
is a movie where I kind of wish I was smarter, where like things would just click a little bit faster for me. So but if you know that it's just strictly revenge, or if it's for the father, just send us an email. We recommend mailbag@gmail.com. Okay, that's the last time. I just think it's funny to do that. But also what I like about this, so in this scene, they're in the cafeteria and it's really high up in the air. And you can kind of see the skyline, that they're a little bit above like the city skyline almost. So it's almost like...
Well, I think they're on the second level.
Yeah. But it's like really high up looking.
Yeah, where in the hell are they? They're supposed to be.
I think it's supposed to be like Ohio or something. I don't know.
Huh. Okay.
But like just in terms, especially when I figured out it's kind of based on the story of
You can do it.
Agnomon.
Oh, so close.
Well, because that's kind of like a king and a god.
Yeah.
like having conversations, it's almost
Yeah.
like this is the point where he's in the sky with the god that would be Martin,
Oh, okay.
kind
Hell
of in
yeah.
the clouds with it. I may be reaching.
This is when
reaching.
he goes to try to make a deal.
Yeah, that's me trying to be smart for 1 second.
No, it's
Reach.
fine. It's pretty cool.
But then I love we immediately see security escorting Martin out of the hospital after that. Stephen goes to see Bob and asks him to eat some of his favorite donuts that Anna has brought for him. He refuses to eat, so Stephen just starts shoving it down his mouth.
I love how chill Bob was about all this. He seemed to take it pretty well.
See, the funny thing is there is nothing more frustrating than trying
not getting a reaction out of someone?
Well, no, just like
when someone won't eat your fucking donuts that you just got.
No, so Gracie's older. Sometimes she gets stomach aches and she doesn't want to eat, and the only way to get rid of her stomach aches would be if she ate.
Or get her to smoke pot.
And there's nothing more frustrating than be like, Gracie, eat your food, you'd feel better.
Tina.
I understand from the perspective of Steven. He's like, you're just weak. Your body's losing energy. You need to eat.
And because he doesn't have any scientific results from all these tests that he can't, he just thinks that he still might be faking it.
Yeah, it might be faking.
It just doesn't make sense to him.
He's like, are you that malnourished? Just eat 5 donuts, please. Oh, by the way, Gracie is our 16-year-old Chihuahua.
I didn't think she was that old. She looks like a little baby.
She looks like a deer.
A little baby deer. She's so cute.
I hope Agamemnon doesn't kill her.
He would, though.
Yeah, he definitely would. So we see, and then Anna's like, just chill. He's not hungry, okay? And then he walks out. She says,
Mom, honestly, maybe too chill at this moment.
Well, Mom's trying to be, I don't know. Well, it's because I think she's just like, well, Steven's smart. He's a very powerful man.
Maybe he will eat the donut.
It's like, maybe he knows best. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. So at the same time, we see Kim and Martin. They're hanging out at her house. They're really like each other, obviously. He awkwardly asks if she's on her period. And then she's like, no. And then she immediately asks.
That was the hottest thing ever, apparently, to her.
Right? But then it's so weird because he asks, are you on your period? She's like, no. Are you hungry? And he's like, no, I'm okay. And then she just gets undressed and lays on the bed. And it's like, what was the chain of, how did this conversation lead to any of this?
You remember, it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess when you're a teenager, she could have been reading out of the dictionary.
Well, it's just, it's weird that it's like, are you on your period? No. Are you hungry? It's like, that's your question after he asks you that? And then she just,
they don't know.
Then she just takes off her shirt and pants. And it's like, okay. And then he's like, I gotta go. She's like, what? Because you can tell she feels bad. It's like, oh, I thought we were going to make out, I guess.
I didn't know how to talk to girls either.
Also, I do think there is a point where Martin does kind of have a little bit of feelings for Kim. It just kind of feels like that. He kind of
looks like he does.
Yeah.
Well, right before he leaves, he holds her hand and he's like,
yeah.
He looks at her like, nope, still going to do it.
Because I think there's a point where he's like, I really hope you're not the one he chooses to kill. But then Kim asks if he's leaving because he is mad at her dad. Because she knows all of this. This is the point where we know, she knows everything at this point. Because she knows about the dad, which is something that Anna doesn't even know, the mother.
Yeah. Guys, girls always know.
Yeah.
They know everything.
And then she tells him she loves him.
Super weird.
It's like, so you know that all this is about to happen. You're still saying that you love him.
God damn, she loves. Ugh.
Crazy. So at the hospital, we see Steven with Bob redoing some tests with Bob. Anna thinks it's a psychosomatic disorder. Bob is getting...
Yeah, like phantom limb.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks. Somebody waves at you, you wave back. You're like, fuck.
Dang it.
I can't.
So we see Steven is getting mad and goes off a little bit on Anna. He says if he needed glasses, he would ask for a medical opinion. But while there's this whole conversation going on, because they're just talking about what's wrong with him, what could be wrong with him, this isn't wrong. We see Steven doing more and more medical tests on him, and I think he does a spinal tap type thing.
Is that what that was? Because
he's just stuck a long needle in his back, and
got
then
the old back tube in you.
But what makes this even more heartbreaking, and then once you know the ending to the movie, it's even more heartbreaking what's going to happen to Bob. Fuck. That it's and you just see a close-up of his face and tears rolling down the side of his face, and it's like, no, this sucks. No. I feel bad.
It does suck.
And then also during the scene, we see Stephen wheeling around Bob. And then he finally stops into this empty hallway because this is the most barren
This is fucking weird.
hospital in the world, even though it seems to be a giant hospital in the middle of a big city. He tries to force Bob to walk. He just starts dropping him.
Yeah, just tossing him around like a rag doll.
It's so uncomfortable.
It was
I love it.
And it was very uncomfortable. And also Bob was kind of chill, but he's like, okay, not a big deal.
I think Bob's just scared and at the same time kind of trusts.
Yeah, he trusts his dad.
And he knows that he can't say anything because this is going to make Stephen even more upset. But to make this uncomfortable scene more uncomfortable, Stephen says, let's play a game where I tell you a secret and you have to try to tell me your biggest secret, and whoever has the best secret wins. So Stephen tells him...
Start you off with a softball.
Yeah. Stephen tells him that when he was younger, he, I guess from school, kids would tell him, like, he learned about, like, how much ejaculation that they have when they masturbate.
How much ropes you shoot.
And so he says that when he was younger and he'd masturbate, very little would come out, like a drop. So he was curious.
It makes that song.
And so I guess his dad got super drunk one night and fell asleep. And so he wanted to see how much would come out.
Yeah.
So he masturbates his dad off. And then he's like, I guess he got so scared about how much semen that he was that he ran and cried in his room.
Yes.
And he's like, so that's my secret. What's yours? Bob's like, I don't have anything like that, man. Like, Dad, what the fuck? But I think this scene...
I poured water into your vodka bottle
to
make it look like I didn't drink any.
So what I think this is, I think it's kind of a metaphor to show you, because this whole movie, people talk about his hands. We see at the beginning of his movie, he takes off his gloves and it's like, oh, he's got clean hands. There's nothing on his hands. And like, this is kind of...
This is dad's semen.
No. And I think it's just like, oh, like his hands have been dirty for a while.
They've been dirty.
Yeah. Type of thing where it's like, oh, he's not as innocent and powerful as he thinks because he was scared and he did something crazy. I don't know.
Jeez.
That's just kind of how I was looking at it. But then to make things even...
Did the dad know?
What?
Did his dad know?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Are we not gonna? We're not gonna delve into this.
Well, I mean, just from the story, it doesn't seem that he didn't say like, and then my dad woke up and beat the shit out of me.
How big are the ropes your dad shoots? Yeah. Send us an
Leave
email.
us an email. We recommend. Okay, that's less. But to make this uncomfortable scene go even more uncomfortable, Stephen says, if we find out that you're lying, and you can tell us now and you won't be in trouble, but if you tell us and we figure this out later, I'm going to shave all your head, all the hair off your head, and make you eat it. And it's like, Bob, I'm so sorry that this has happened to you, man. This is probably definitely the worst day of your life until later in the movie.
But it was there's like no reaction from Bob at this moment. And so at first I thought maybe he meant it as a joke and they both knew it, like an inside joke. And because neither one of them, like Bob wasn't upset, Stephen...
Bob knows that he hates that he has long hair. I think, so I think he probably is staying quiet because he's like, he has nothing he can say to convince his dad that he's faking it. So he's like,
I'd be speechless too.
I'm just going to hope my legs just fall off at this point so you don't think I'm lying to you.
Just don't touch my dick, Dad.
But then also for Bob, this becomes a situation where it's like, well, if I get better, what do I do? He's going to make me eat my hair.
He's going to make me eat my hair.
Yeah. So it sucks.
That would suck.
I feel so bad for him.
It's stuck in your tummy.
But now it's time to feel bad for Kim. Because later we see Kim at a choir practice where she collapses during a rehearsal of Carol of the Bells.
Hit that high note, man.
Yeah. She ends up in the hospital in the same room as Bob. She, too, is also refusing to eat. The hospital continues to run tests on the two of them and determined that according to the tests, there's nothing wrong with either of them.
When she bit that apple and then she started choking like she's going to puke, I thought for sure we'd see some spiders come out of her mouth or something. Come on.
You really thought this was going to be a spider-heavy movie.
I mean...
But also at this point in this scene, we see Anna starting to cry and break down and hug the anesthesiologist. Like you're finally seeing, it's like, oh, a parent reaction. Finally, a normal parental reaction here. Like she didn't go in there and be like, well, Kim, when I was younger,
But she does check his ropes.
Yeah. So we see Steven, he goes to Martin's house. He bangs on their door, but they aren't answering. And he's like, open this door and I will fuck you and your mother just the way you want it. It's like, I will break down this door.
Nobody here.
There's a lamp on in the bottom room. You just see him turn it off. Ugh. God, this movie's so great and uncomfortable. So Steven tells Anna about what Martin told him. Like the whole, like, I guess essentially just about the father and he wants revenge and stuff. He says he's been hanging out with Martin because he has psychological problems and that he felt sorry for him. She says she asked him if he had been drinking the day that he operated on Martin's father. He says it's possible, but a death on an operating table is never the surgeon's fault.
Right.
It's always due to a mistake by the anesthesiologist. Mm-hmm. I think it could be either one of their faults, right? I mean, it could have been, a doctor could make a mistake, an anesthesiologist can mess up, right?
They can, but doctors get sued a lot.
Yeah.
They have to have really good insurance.
Yeah.
Malpractice insurance.
Yeah, that's for sure. A day or two later, Anna is at the hospital with her children when Kim gets a phone call from Martin. The two have been seeing each other since they first met. He tells her to stand up and come to the window so she can see him.
Thanks,
in the parking lot.
And she turns into Grandpa Joe.
I've been good for this whole time. Let's go to the chocolate factory. But so she's like, I can't do that. And then all of a sudden she's able to stand up and she goes to the window but doesn't see him.
She's got a golden fucking ticket.
Yeah. She starts going back to her bed and her legs stop working again. The second she hangs up the phone, Bob thinks that he can walk now, so he just rolls out of bed. It's like, hey, go feet first, Bob. Let's make sure you can wiggle those toes, man. Don't just fall off the bed. And it's like,
this.
It is just like, it's such an uncomfortable movie that even though this sucks and it's sad, it was still kind of funny for a second. It was like the funniest part of the movie. Anna asks who is on the phone. She tells Kim to never talk to him again. Kim kind of smarts off under her breath, and Anna like grabs her hand. He's like, "Mom, stop," and like takes her phone. But Kim tells her not to get hysterical, that soon she will understand what they're going through. And this freaks Anna the fuck out, and Kim knows. She's in on it.
So fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was wondering if she was in on it, especially at the end when she keeps looking at him.
Like, she knows that it's happening, but she can't.
She can't stop it.
She can't stop that it's also going to happen to her no matter what she does.
But she tries to get him to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Martin said, dang ass freak. So Anna goes to visit Martin at his house. Martin says that Steven has been flirting with his mom. Anna says she doesn't understand.
He's eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
And this is the breakfast spaghetti.
Yeah. Anna says she doesn't understand why the kids and her have to suffer. Then we get a whole spaghetti speech.
The spaghetti speech.
I have it here. But this is it's like the whole point of the story, so like means something. And it's kind of why Martin is doing it. So Martin says, not long after my dad died, someone told me that I eat spaghetti the exact same way he did. They said, what an
asshole.
They said, what an extraordinary impression this fact had made on them. Look at that boy. Look how he eats spaghetti, exactly the same way his father did. He sticks his fork in, he twirls it around and around and around and around, then he sticks it in his mouth. At the same time, I thought I was the only one who ate spaghetti that way. Me and my dad, later, of course, I found out that everyone eats spaghetti the exact same way. Exact same way. This made me very upset, very upset. It's hard because I'm not talking like him. It sounds like an insane speech.
It is interesting, like how he repeats certain words, and then Kim does it too.
Yeah.
Later.
Then it continues. Maybe even more upset than when they told me he was dead. My dad, Martin. I don't know if what is happening is fair, but it's the only thing I can think of that's close to justice. So I think the point of him saying this is, I thought me and my dad shared something special because we ate spaghetti the same way and no one else ate spaghetti like this. And he's very upset because, well, crap, what does me and my dad have in common that nobody else has in common? That's like something just me and him have. But because his dad died and Steven killed him on the operating table, he'll never know. So
maybe but like, I was also thinking, nobody tells anyone that.
Well, yeah, it's a.
I think he made that up.
Well,
Like that someone said that to him.
I think it was something that maybe people were trying to make him feel better. That his dad died, and it's like I'm trying to make him feel better. It's like, oh, you and your dad, you guys eat the spaghetti the exact same way.
Yeah, but nothing else.
He just took it. Well, I think it was just supposed to be a situation where he's like, oh, I felt special and connected to my dad, but now that everybody eats spaghetti like this, there is nothing special, and now I don't have him here to have those special moments with. So his form of justice is, well, now Steven can't have a special moment with one of his kids, maybe. So he's taking that from Steven.
Fuck.
Right? Kind of.
Yes.
That's kind of what I get from it.
I don't know.
I looked up and read this quote 500 times, and I was like, this is what I feel like it means. So that's my thought. And if you have a different thought, send us. So, a decision is made to have all the children come home instead of having to stay in the hospital. So Anna meets with the anesthesiologist, and he says he remembers Steven having 2 drinks the morning before operating on Martin's father. He says when someone dies, it's never his fault, but it's the surgeon's fault. Essentially, it's 2 men just blaming each other for this.
Hell yeah.
He says when someone dies, and in return for giving this information, Anna has to give him a hand job inside her car, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, he asked for a hand job once before at like a party or whatever, and she declined. So I guess the only way to get this information was to jerk him off.
Nice.
So Steven is acting normal, but Anna is still super upset.
She was a real soldier about it too. You know,
just staring at him straight in the eyes, kind of like
I mean,
looking a little pissed off.
She wasn't. To me, she's just like, I do what I gotta do.
You gotta do what I gotta do.
You know, take it with a. Take it right. She took it right on the chin.
Yeah, or in the more in the palm.
Probably in the palm.
So Steven is acting normal. Anna's more upset and wants him to take care of it. He's talking about like, oh, hey, this dinner is delicious. This meat is delicious. Well, hey, maybe we'll take the kids to the beach house. Let them stay there for a while they're recovering. Also, oh man, you know what I'm craving? Potatoes. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about, Steven? How about you take care of this and do something about it and stop talking about mashed potatoes? And he's like, what do you want me to do? Where's our crocodile teeth? Where's some pubes? Maybe I can fix all this by like a magical ritual or something. Because at this point, I was hoping
he would find one of those.
Yeah, it's like he's just throwing everything around in his house. Where'd we put it? I guess we're all out of these.
Here's the pube drawer.
It's like, dang, we're all out of crocodile teeth, I guess. So the next morning, Steven wakes up Anna to show him something in the basement. And right before this, we see Steven finally breaking down and just crying inside his, I guess, his office or whatever, or the living room. It's the first time you really get to see him where he's like,
yep.
He's a broken king now.
Well,
you see him cry for the first time.
He also knows that it's science isn't going to solve his problem, and it's going to have to be supernatural. Like that's the only answer left.
Well, he thinks there might be one more answer. Brutality.
Ooh.
Because the next morning, Steven wakes up Anna to show him something in the basement. It's a bruised and beaten up Martin.
His hand, when he went to wake her up, though, his hand is fucked up from punching.
Exactly. Anna goes to make him lemonade because Steven's like, hey, make Martin some of that lemonade he loves. Pour it on his wounds.
Oh, God, it'll sting.
So essentially, he just wants Martin to fix it, but Martin won't. Says he has to make a decision himself. Steven punches a tooth out of him.
Yeah.
And then Martin bites him and says the only way to make him feel better. So like after Martin bites Steven, he says,
that's the fuck out of
what would you make, because it's a metaphor, what's about to happen. It's like, what would make you feel better? If I like stroked your wound? No, that'd probably make it feel worse. I know the only thing that can do. So he bites his own skin, takes a chunk out of it, spits it out. And he says, do you understand now? It's a metaphor. It's metaphorical. My example, it's a metaphor. I mean, it's just, it's symbolic. It's essentially, I caused you pain. So what's going to make you feel better? Me biting my own arm.
The balance.
Yeah, balancing out.
Be balance.
Eye for an eye. And we see Kim washing the inside of Steven's car because he just, I guess, beat the shit up. Did you think Steven killed the mom, or was the mom probably just not home?
I don't think the mom was home.
Or did he just like pick him up on the side of the street, like walking home after?
Yeah, something? I don't think the mom really knew about it.
Yeah. So Then while she's cleaning out the car, we hear a gunshot. He didn't shoot Martin. He's just trying to scare him, essentially. Martin is unfazed, though. And Anna tells him not to shoot him because...
Perfect little psychopath.
And essentially, Martin says, if you shoot me, how are you going to explain 4 dead bodies instead of just 1? Later, Kim tells Bob not to feel bad about being the one that's going to die, essentially. She says she will eventually go off and live with Martin. She also asks if she can have Bob's MP3 player after he's dead.
Yeah, goddamn, Kim.
Because she's like, you're going to die, by the way. He's not
lost all of mine.
He's not going to pick you. He's going to make sure you die. So now everyone knows what Stephen has to do, essentially. He's going to have to kill one of them. So they all start to try to flatter him. And
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Well, it's just because after this point, everybody's like, Dad, Papa. Bob's like, I cut my hair, Father, and I want to be a cardiologist.
Yeah. I see. I was wondering why he cut. I thought he was going to eat his hair.
Yeah.
When he was cutting it off.
Well, this is actually the part where Stephen breaks down and ugly cries. That's my bad. So Stephen goes to the kids' school and asks about how they are at school. Stephen asked the principal.
Yes.
He asked the principal, which one do you like best? Like, if you had to choose. What?
What a fucking
Wild
piece of shit.
Well, I mean, dude,
he
can't make his own decision. I mean, what do you do to make this decision?
To get someone else's opinion on which kid you're gonna kill.
I don't know. It's be like, which one do you think is more promising in the future? I'm like, well, first of all, one's way younger than the other. You can't compare them right now in terms of who's going to be a better adult.
I know, but I feel like him going to someone else to help to tell him basically what to do.
It's wild, but I don't know. I guess in this crazy supernatural experience, it's like, what would you do? Like, if you had to make the choice.
I'd be in a constant state of shock and do some weird stuff. Would you just
be like, all right, which one of my kids won't be missed the most in the world?
No, why didn't he just kill... Can he just kill his wife, though? Save both the kids.
He's going to have to find another woman that will pretend to be under anesthesia for him. So I guess he's
sure that
this will probably be easier if
There's got to be another one out there.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like he probably loves the wife more than he loves the kids.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, some people are like that. They'll probably be like, I'm glad I have kids, but I do love my wife more than I love my kids.
That's...
I mean, you never know. You never know. Happens. So the same day, Anna
the Willoughbys.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see that one?
Nope.
What's that? It's really funny.
What is that?
It's these kids. There's like these 4 kids that live with their parents in England, and their parents don't give a fuck about them. And so, they don't feed them or nothing, so the kids are all having to steal food. It's an animated movie.
Oh, okay.
It's good, though.
Yeah,
they all have, everyone in the family has big, thick red mustaches, even the women. It's great.
So, they all have Nigel Thornberry mustaches?
Yeah, basically.
Because when you said, whatever you said, what was it? Wilburys?
The Willoughbys.
Yeah, I immediately was thinking of Thornberries.
Wild Thornberries.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, so that same day,
I love that fucking show too.
Anna takes Bob and Kim down to the basement while she bandages his wound. He asks for a hug from Bob. Wound. Did I say womb?
Yeah, he said womb.
What the fuck?
I was gonna let it slide, but
No, I'm glad you didn't. Well, if you let it slide, someone would have told me. You know, you said womb, right? But so he asks for a hug from Bob. He's like, Bob's like, nah.
I know. I love how he's like talking to him like they can walk, and they're just like they had just crawled down there.
Yeah, and it's just funny. He's telling Bob, "It's like, well, right now you're the man of the house while your father's away." And it's just like he's just acting normal. He's acting like nothing's happened. And so he tells Anna to take them away because she's done bandaging the wounds. And then all of a sudden, Anna, before she's going to leave and take the kids away, starts kissing Martin's feet. For me, this is a metaphor of saying that he's a god. Kissing the feet of a god or a king, something like that.
She's like, please don't kill my kids. I'll do anything.
She's trying to do anything she can to make him not do it. He tells Anna the boy's about to die. Wah, wah, wah. That night, Anna is seducing Stephen. She pretends to be she gets naked and pretends to be under anesthesia again.
Oh, that was so funny. Like she just gets naked. I like where this is going, and then she just flops over.
But she's trying to be like, you can't kill me. Like, who are you going to do this with?
Oh, yeah.
I'm different. Like, no, you're not going to find someone that's like,
Got
hey,
that
by the way, can you
snapping
pretend you're
pussy.
dead or lifeless at the moment? Steven just turns the lights off, though. She says the most logical thing would to be kill a child because they can have more.
Yeah.
She's like, I can do the IVF or whatever. I guess she doesn't live in Alabama. So at night, when everyone is asleep, Kim drags herself down to the basement and asks Martin to let her walk again so that they can run away together. This is where Kim's like, Martin, am I going to die too? Like, I thought we were in on this. Like, now you're going to, like, let me die? So she starts getting mad because Martin isn't allowing it. She's starting to throw things at him. Stephen and Anna wake up and notice that Kim is not in her bed, and they check every room, and she is nowhere to be found. They go down to the basement. She's not there either. Stephen asks Martin what he did to her. They start driving around the neighborhood and eventually find her dragging herself along with her knees and legs bleeding.
Ugh.
Back at home, Stephen tends to her wounds while she apologizes for going down to see him. She's essentially saying, go ahead. It's like, I messed up. Go ahead and kill me. I understand, Father. Just really laying on some guilt for the father. Like, oh, it's like, oh, she's really suffering. And this is the exact story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens in the story where she's like,
Basically.
no, kill me. It's
Right.
okay. I understand.
Yeah.
So in this terms, like, she's not. So, yeah, but it doesn't work because he's going to do it in the most weird, crazy way possible.
Yeah, because
She's just trying to make him feel bad.
Yeah, in Greek mythology, they always have to. It's always like the gods against man. Like they always have to show the. They could have killed Agamemnon easily, but they decided instead to make an example out of him.
Yeah, exactly. This movie fucking rules, dude.
It's good.
The next day, Anna says she has to set Martin free. She is cleaning Bob's legs, and Kim starts getting worried Stephen might choose her. The next day, so she starts being like, she starts just kind of being more rebellious, Kim is, and then like Anna just slaps the shit out of her.
Yeah.
The next day, we see Bob's eyes start bleeding. Dad!
It was fucking metal, though.
I just love Kim. Dad! Quick!
Bob's
dying.
Yeah.
Because she knows he has to hurry and make a decision or she's next.
Yeah.
Because
Fuck yeah.
she was the next one to get the paralysis of legs. Bob tells his dad he has a lot of friends. Doesn't say, maybe if, he said that, I have like 2 really good best friends that I would have forever, Father. But essentially he's saying like, hey, don't kill me. I have such a good life.
Please don't kill me, Dad.
Yeah. It is now time for Stephen to make his choice. He tapes up his family members.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. He tapes like their arms, their legs, their bodies, and he puts tape over their mouths so they can't talk. And then puts pillowcases over their heads and then sets them in the living room. He stands in the middle of them with a rifle and pulls a beanie down over his face before spinning in a circle and firing the rifle randomly. So this movie to this point has been very methodical camera shots and camera movement. And then soon as we get to this scene here, like, I don't know if you noticed, it was all like handy cam. Like, it was obviously someone holding a cam and like, just a little shaky, a little bit.
Everything's off kilter.
Kind of like it's a point of view shot to make it even seem crazier that this is happening.
Yes.
And it's almost like, because the camera's always been kind of a super wide lens and a little bit above everybody all the time, to where it's like you're kind of a god looking out.
Hell yeah.
And so now
That's
you're in the room when the decision's being made, and like now you're in their like uncomfortable situation, being almost like you're making the same choice as Steven is.
It's like a tornado of madness.
Yes. Oh God, it's so crazy. So he spins around and randomly shoots a few times, only hitting furniture in the house.
How much more scary is it now, Steven?
It's like, God, it's so it's terrible.
But nobody screams.
Yeah, well, all their mouths are taped.
Well, they still don't make a sound.
You just you can see their their hands going.
I know.
Hoping it's not them.
One of them would be like,
right?
like Miss Piggy or something.
You just never know how you're gonna react to this. And he keeps spinning around in circles, shooting until the final time when we see blood begin to stream down from under Bob's shirt. Fuck.
Fucking A.
Worst part about the movie is also at this scene because it's CGI blood and it's obvious. It's like, really? We couldn't just throw some actual blood on this kid.
They couldn't just kill a real kid.
Well, I didn't say that. So, and then we're coming to the final scene of the movie. In the next scene, Steven, Anna, and Kim are eating in the diner where Steven used to meet with Martin. Martin walks in and sits at the bar and looks back at them. We see Kim putting ketchup on her fries and eating them first. by the way, earlier in the film.
Because fuck you, Martin.
In the film earlier, Martin says that he eats his fries last because he likes them the most. So at first I thought like, oh, she's doing it to shove it in his face. But the family gets up and leaves. Kim looks back and almost smiles. So I think she's still into him.
Oh, God.
Anna looks upset and Steven doesn't even look at all. Like it didn't happen.
Jesus.
That's it. That's the film.
Well, in the end of this, the Greek story, Iphigenia or whatever, Iphigenia, she ends up becoming a priestess for Artemis at a temple.
Oh shit! Yeah,
because
okay.
he saved her life.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, killing the deer instead of her.
Man, what a movie, right?
That was fucking cool.
What a great movie. You have to watch The Favorite and The Lobster.
I've seen The Lobster.
You have seen The Lobster?
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
It's the same.
Fucking weird as hell.
It's just like this movie where it's like, what are we talking about? I love in The Lobster whenever he's with the woman that he gets put with. It's like, hey,
the sociopath woman?
Yeah. And it's like, usually when people are struggling, we just actually put them on a small boat and give them a kid. That usually helps everything. It's like, that's not how this is going to work. I can't wait. I ended up buying The Favorite, this, and The Lobster just because I was like, I want all his movies. I haven't seen Dogtooth.
Is The Favorite the one with the queen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I've
Emma
seen
Stone.
that. Yeah, that was cool.
Another also super weird.
Fucking cool. Like the dances they're doing.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
We got to watch Poor Things now. And Dogtooth. I haven't watched any of his, because Yorgos Lanthimos is Greek. So he has a couple of Greek films too, and I really want to watch them because I'm like, are they just as equally weird?
I hope so.
Yeah, so this movie rules. We all loved it, and I hope you liked it too. And I hope, if you've never seen this movie and you specifically watched this movie because of this podcast, I hope you continue listening to this podcast. I don't know if it was too much of a movie. I don't know. I always get weird with movies like this because I'm like, oh, if I recommend this to someone, people are going to be like, I don't know who you are, Jesse, and I never will now because we're no longer talking.
What does this movie say
Why
about
did you make me talk about it? Why did you make me watch this movie? I don't know. I just like movies that are that just aren't easy to watch, but not
thought-provoking.
Yeah, thought-provoking, but also just uncomfortable, but not cringy uncomfortable and not
not a single goddamn spider or deer.
It's not it's not hard to watch because of anything violent or anything. It's just socially uncomfortable.
Yeah, that stuff really gets to you.
Yeah, and because that's
I think you should leave.
Especially as a people pleaser and as someone who hates confrontation.
It's the worst.
So to see Steven not want to deal with confrontation and just trying to, instead of apologizing to Martin and lying to him about killing his dad, I'm instead just going to try to make him comfortable and happy as I can be because I just don't want to have this confrontation with him. And if he did, Bob's still alive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Martin stabs him as soon as he says that with a Swiss Army knife. I don't know. Cool. So we're going to move to our first category. Our category is the good, the bad, the ugly, the fine. It's where we talk about the good of the film, something that we liked, the bad, something we didn't like, the ugly, something that didn't age well, and the fine, something that did age well. I'm going to start, and I'm just going to say uncomfortable cinema, the entire cast, and the cinematography, and the directing with Yorgos Lanthimos.
It was cool. I love the idea that there are movies that are still being influenced by kind of mythology. Yeah.
That's the thing. Old stories like that, a lot of movies are based on whether it be the Bible or Greek tragedies or Shakespeare, anything. A lot of films are still based on those basic stories because that's where stories come from.
Hell yeah.
Right?
It's fucking cool.
It's great. I love it. I love when you read, oh, this was inspired about this story. Well, what's this story? Oh, snap. This story sounds awesome. Yeah. The bad for me was CGI blood at the very end.
Oh, yeah.
That was it.
It was just, I didn't really focus on I was kind of just so sad about the kid getting shot.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I'm bad at spotting CGI, I guess.
Oh, well, I think I didn't notice it the first time I watched it. I think if this was the first time I watched it, I probably wouldn't have noticed the CGI blood, but I was trying to focus on things outside of the humans just to be like, where's some of these
Not
like,
the first dead kid I've
well,
seen today.
it's like the shoes. Like I didn't notice the shoes the first time until I was like, wait, they're wearing the same shoes. Stuff like that. The deer behind them. I was like, I didn't notice the deer the first time I watched it, and I was like, killing of a sacred deer. There's a deer behind them. I
guess maybe that deer was supposed to be the deer that. I don't know, man.
Well, I guess if we're talking that Martin's dad is the deer, the sacred deer that got killed, and Martin is Artemis,
Right.
The deer behind him is his dad, and he's Artemis, I guess, in this.
And that's
situation.
what they're sacrificing for.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Cool.
The ugly, so something that didn't age well. Nothing really for me, but the movie may not be for everybody.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
This movie may be ugly for you. I don't know.
Yeah, same. I mean, I thought it was just fucking cool as shit.
Yeah. And for me to find something that aged well, I just took the director, Yorgos Lanthimos, because he's becoming more and more popular, and I don't know. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, he's still kind of like a movie buff kind of darling type of guy.
You know what made me scared? In the scene where Kim falls over and when she's singing, they're singing a Christmas song, and I was like, "Oh no, is this gonna turn into a Christmas movie?"
What, Shane Black the last third of this movie?
No, it was just the girl dying.
Oh, thank goodness, we didn't want anything's better than Christmas popping up. All right, so we're gonna go to our next category. It's called double feature. It's where we pick a movie that we think goes well with this movie. So it's probably a harder movie to find a double feature for, but I did find one. Do you want to go first? You want me to go?
Go for it.
I chose the movie Speak No Evil. I've talked about it on this podcast before.
Yes, you have.
It's the one where it's just socially uncomfortable, and there's kids that make it uncomfortable for the whole situation.
Nice.
I think I can't remember which country the film is from, but it is in subtitles. So if you don't like that, I get it. But you should definitely watch the movie. You will feel bad, kind of like you felt about this one, but also at the same time, you'd be like, what a fucking movie, man.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, I really wanted a tangible monster to hate, so I was thinking maybe a Quiet Place.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what would probably be actually a good double feature? The Good Son.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at first. Whenever
Elijah Wood and
yeah,
Macaulay Culkin.
That would be a better one.
God, I've only seen that once as a kid and I hated it. It made me so uncomfortable.
It does.
And I like, especially as a kid, I hated movies where kids cause trouble.
Yeah, they're naughty boys.
I was like, oh, why are you causing so much trouble?
You're hurting people.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I've really been just kind of a people pleaser my entire life, even as a kid. But yeah, so that's pretty much our discussion on the film. I hope you enjoyed our discussion about this crazy, wacky movie. You can join us next week as we discuss a palate cleanser. I was thinking we should do WALL-E. Do you like WALL-E?
Fuck yeah, I love WALL-E.
It's my favorite Pixar. I just feel like we should do it.
Hell yeah, man.
And I'd love to rewatch it because I haven't seen it in probably like 10 years, and I'm always saying it's my favorite Pixar.
Yep.
And it's a movie where anytime something happens in this world where we're like, things get a little easier for people, everybody's like, we're all just going to end up like WALL-E people. It's like, let's calm down.
I'm looking forward to it.
We don't have robots flying.
I need my own moving chair.
And I can't wait to say, Eva,
WALL-E.
So get ready for that next week. Everybody's just like, I'm unfollowing.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So join us next week for WALL-E. And if you have any questions, you want to email us about the movie, we can potentially say it on the podcast. If you have any good insight on the movie, or just, I don't know, tell us something you liked about our discussion. You can go to our email. You probably don't know it yet because it's we recommend mailbag@gmail.com. It's also in the show notes if I'm saying it wrong or whatever. I'm not, but so just send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from our fans a little bit. And if you want to follow us on social medias, easiest way to do that is our link tree. Go to linktree/we recommend podcast. I'd like to thank Joey Prosser for our intro and outro music. You can follow him on X at Mr. Joey Prosser. And man, I think that's it. So I guess we'll see you next week. This has been the We Recommend
Maybe we'll
podcast.
have some reader mail next week.
Yeah. Do it. And also, if you follow us on our social medias, we're about to be posting an achievement that we got in terms of how many downloads we have, which
Yeah.
So look out on our social medias. But this has been the We Recommend podcast. I'm Jesse.
I'm Jason.
And remember, a surgeon never kills a patient. An anesthesiologist kills a patient, but a surgeon never can. I try to do
Get my tart.
I try to do a Colin Farrell there for a second. Bye.